All right, so this is questions 3 and 4 from the notes on 8:26. We didn't have time to get to questions 3 or 4 in my 5th hour, so I figured I'd make a little video and put it on. So number 3, the directions were solve each inequality, write your answers as an inequality, graph, and interval notation. You must do this in your homework. So for number 3, if I had this equation, or inequality rather, the first thing I would do is distribute. Negative 2x plus 6, distributing the negative 2, is less than or equal to 6x plus 3, distributing the 3. I would minus 6x from both sides, getting negative 8x is less than or equal to, and I'd minus 6 from both sides, so these would eliminate, and I'd have negative 3. So now divide both sides by negative 8, and since I'm dividing by a negative, I need to switch the inequality. So that would be 3, let me clean that up a little bit, 3/8. So that's our first representation, that's the inequality. The second representation is the graph. So I always put 0 and the number that we have. Since 3/8 is less than or equal to 3/8, we want to include 3/8, so I fill in the circle, and like 10 is greater than 3/8, so that's this way. And then the final representation, which I don't have room for down below, so I'm just going to put it up in this space, is interval notation. So the 4 questions we ask are, what is the leftmost number in our shaded or the left edge? What is the right edge? Since we go to infinity, it's an arrow. It's an arrow because let's start that over. It's an arrow, so we go to infinity. Do we include the left edge? Yes, so that gets a square bracket. Do we include the right edge? Well, since infinity technically isn't a number but a concept about a number, we can include it. So that would be how we would do that one. Now for number 4, notice how it's an equal sign. So we're not going to have multiple representations on this one. We're just going to have the x equals part. But since I have a bunch of fractions, I'm going to clear the fractions. I've got a 3, a 5, and a 15. So I'm going to multiply everything by 15 and over 1 because it's fractions, and that just makes it look cleaner. So then here I'd have 30 over 3, which is 10, minus 45 over 5, which is 9, equals 15 over 15, which is 1, and plus 30x. So would minus 30x from both sides. To get rid of the 30x, I'd add 9 to both sides to get rid of the negative 9. So I'd have negative 20x equals 10, divide by negative 20, and x equals negative 1/2. Now again, notice that there aren't multiple representation because it's not an inequality. So again, these are the last 2 questions that we didn't have time for in my 5th hour, and potentially my 7th hour, I haven't done that yet, for the linear inequality notes on 8:26.